Everyone was full of ideas. We could bring some small boats to put across the branches and make a proper little platform, said Colin. We have got some in our shade at home. And rope to tie them on with, said Jack. Yes, and cushions to sit on, said Pam. Only we would have to stuff them in the hole in the tree whenever we left, in case it rained. Can't do that, the hole's not big enough, said Jack. Barbara said, well, I could bring an old waterproof sheet, a rubber one, to cover up any one of our things when we leave. Then they would be quite all right. Peter said, good idea. Any more ideas? Janet said, stores for the cubby hole in the tree, unbreakable marks and things like that. I will bring those. Mummy always lets us have them when we want them, so long as we take them back sometime. That's fine. Boards to make a platform, you can bring those, Colin. Rope to tie them with, said Jack. I will bring that. Cushions for me, said Pam. Rubber sheet for me, said Barbara. Marks for me, said Janet. What about you, George? I will bring some food for the cubby hole, said George. Great, said Peter. And I will bring the drinks. Gosh, we are going to have a glorious time. It will be a wonderful meeting place. Don't you go and tell that awful sister of yours, Jack. As if I tell Susie, said Jack, indignantly. When shall we begin to make the tree house? Peter said, why not tomorrow? Nobody's going away on holiday just yet. It shouldn't take us long to put everything together up here. This place is just made for a tree house. A loud and mournful howl rose up from the foot of the tree. Then there came a scrabbling noise. Oh, poor Scamper, said Janet. He's being as good as anything waiting for us. I guess he wishes he could climb like our cat. He would be up beside us in Huppa jiffy. We are coming, Scamper, called Peter. He took one last look round the tree. It really couldn't be better, he said, and there's only one more thing to hope for. What's that? Asked Jack, beginning to climb down. Something for the Secret Seven to do. We haven't had any adventure or mystery or excitement for ages. I'm glad you said that, said Pam. When you say things never happen, they always do. Peter said, I hope you're right. What a long way we can see. Right over the wood and across to the hill. I can see the road winding up the hill too and cars on it. Come on, called Jack, who was halfway down the tree now. It's getting late. I shall get into a row. I know I shall. My mother says our meeting always lasts an hour too long. Well, this was a really good one anyhow, said Colin, slithering down much too fast. Gosh, now I have torn my shorts. I should think so, going down the tree as if it was a slippery sleep, said Barbara. Scamper gave them a tremendous welcome. He leaped on one after another as the Secret Seven jumped down to the ground, barking and licking with all his might. Peter laughed. Poor old Scamper, you won't like our new meeting place, will you? Hey, look, what about giving Scamper that hole over there as a kind of kennel when we are up the tree? He pointed to what looked almost like a small cave in a nearby tree. It was old and rotten, and a hole had appeared at the foot of its trunk. It would just about fit Scamper. We could put one of his rugs in there and a bone so that he would know it was his place, said Peter. And we could say, on guard, Scamper, to him, so that he would stay there till we came down. Oh, yes, he would be our sentinel, said George. He would make an awfully good one. He would bark as soon as anyone came near. They all felt happy now that they had made a good plan for Scamper. He wouldn't be able to come up the tree and join their meetings as he did in the shade, but at least he would be doing something for them and feeling important because he was on guard. Oh, said Scamper, exactly as if he understood every word and agreed thoroughly. He wagged his tail and ran in front of them. He knew it was dinner time, if they didn't. The next day was really very exciting. If anyone had been in Windy Woods, he or she would have been most astonished to see the file of children going down the path, each carrying some kind of load. They had all met at Peter's house with their goods. Janet, his sister, had mugs and plates and spoons. Colin had a set of boats which Jack had to help him with. Jack had coiled yards and yards of rope round his waist and looked really most peculiar. Barbara was carrying a big rubber sheet carefully folded, and she was helping Pam with a set of old cushions. "There's a bit dirty and flattened out," said Pam. "But I didn't think that would matter. I got them out of the garden shade. They have been there ages. I could only find 6, so we will have to get another somewhere." Janet ran to get one from her garden shade. where the Secret Seven usually held their meetings. Dad made 7 cushions, one for everyone. George had some chocolate and also a great big tin of mixed biscuits. Mother gave me them, he said. She says your mother keeps supplying our society with food, and it's her turn now. Wonderful, said Peter, with much approval. What a smashing team! He had taken some money from his money box and bought a bottle of lemonade and one of orangeade, and he also had 2 bottles full of water to use with the drinks. Even Scamper had to carry something. He had one of his little rugs rolled up tightly and tied with string. He was carrying it in his mouth, feeling most important. He loved it when the children really let him take part in everything they were doing. "Oof, oof," he said, with his mouth full of rug. "He says he likes to be carrying something like everyone else," said Janet. "That's right, isn't it, Scamper?" Scamper wagged his tail and almost dropped his rug in his longing to bark properly. "Oof," he said. The 7 set off down the path, came to Windy Woods, and made their way to their tree. "We ought to carve SS on the trunk for Secret 7. "Well, we can't," said Peter. "My father says that scribbling on walls and pavements and carving on trees is only done by idiots, and if anyone in the Secret 7 wants to be an idiot, he can jolly well get out." "I only said we ought to carve SS," said Pam, quite hard. "I didn't mean that we should. You know, I'm not a hooligan." "Yes, I do know," said Peter. "I was only just telling you what my father said. Let's make Scamper his little sentry box place before we go up the tree." It was fun showing Scamper his sentry box. He sniffed all around and then sat down at the entrance, his mouth open as if he were smiling. "He's pleased, he's smiling," said Janet. "Come out, Scamper, and we will put your rug in. Then you will know that this is your own place, your sentry box, and you are the sentinel on guard. On guard, Scamper. You know what that means, don't you?" Peter stuffed his rug into the hole. Then he dropped a bone there for Scamper, and then he put an old cap of his in the hole too. "On guard, Scamper," he said, pointing. "On guard, old fellow. Very important. Guard my cap for me till I come back. On guard." Scamper went back into the hole, sniffed solemnly at the cap, then at the bone. He turned round and sat himself upright at the entrance to the hole again, looking important. Nothing would now make him leave his sentry box until Peter told him he might. He was a very, very good guard when he knew he had to be. Now we can get on with our own job without old Scamper leaping around us and barking and getting in the way all the time. Let's tie the boats and the rubber sheet to the ropes, then one of us can go up the tree with the rope end and pull the whole lot up at once, said Peter. This seemed a very good idea, but wasn't. Peter didn't tie the rope securely enough round the boards, and as Jack was hauling the package off the tree, a rope slipped and down came all the boards and the rubber sheet, bumping and slipping against the tree. One board hit Colin on the shoulder, and the rubber sheet unfolded and fell neatly over Pam's head. The others squealed with laughter as Pam yelled and struck out, wondering what had happened to her. "Oh dear, sorry," said Peter, pulling the sheet off poor Pam. "We will tie the things more firmly this time." "You let me tie them," said Colin, rubbing his shoulder. "I'm not going to have a shower of heavy boards fall on me again." "This is fun," said George. "This is really fun. I bet nobody ever had such fun making a tree house before."